Hey guys, I'm here again. This time I'm alone and I'm just alone with Chisk. That's another commercial for Chisk. When you're emotional, alone and lonely, just get a little bit of that. Chisk is great, and I hope one day I'll get money for it. Guys, I'm alone this time. You might be asking, where is your counterpart? Where is Steven? Where is your guest? Where is anyone, really? What the fuck is going on? Guys, I need to apologize because what happened was we were shooting an episode on Friday, and today is Sunday that I'm shooting this. And we had a friend here and a guest, and it was great. But we were not very happy with the final result. Stefcho was not happy. He said, let's not do it. Let's do another one. Let's record another one on Saturday. So I said, okay. But then we had an argument in between that recording and the next. And he blocked me, man. Look at this. I can't even communicate with him. I can't even send him a message. Look, I'm trying to say, hey, what's up? And I send the message and it says, look, message failed. And I try to call him. Doesn't work, man. And if you're thinking, what the fuck could have created this diaspora? What could have possibly enraged the gods so much that we decided not to talk to each other well? Yeah, you guessed correctly. It was PewDiePie. It was PewDiePie, man. It was the old Pubes. Pubes? Was it Pubes? I don't know if it's Pubes. That's right. We had an argument because we disagree on the subject of PewDiePie. And I thought it would be a good idea with the guest that we had that I present my viewpoint, Stefcho presents his viewpoint, and then the guest also, and then we see what can happen. But it didn't even come to the guest because Stefcho started attacking me personally, calling me names and shit about PewDiePie. Because, of course, as you know, this is what generally teaches his armies of followers to do, to blindlessly attack anyone who is expressing any other viewpoint. And yes, because my opinion was not the popular opinion, Stefcho was a fan of PewDiePie. I am someone who doesn't like him so much. So, of course, I was attacked, destroyed, and my work and everything was just thrown to pieces because of that. And I don't like leaving arguments like this. I always like to come to a finite solution. Be like, okay, listen, we either don't talk because this is too big of a deal and you'll never forgive me for disliking PewDiePie's, or we find a solution where I don't mention it. In general, I don't like, putting things on a no discussion list. I've always been a fan of freedom of speech. You should be able to talk about everything, about anything, all the time. So I don't like that idea that there's some things that I shouldn't discuss. But, if this is going to be a solution for a greater good, then I don't know. I'm considering to even do this. But if I can't even communicate with him, how can I possibly do it? So thinking about you guys and that I need to still produce something because I have a commitment to you guys, I decided to do this by myself. But I don't want to just jump around and dance around the subject. I'm going to tell you what we talked about, what we disagreed on. You be the judge, and then hopefully I'll try to figure it out so next time we can actually have a normal episode. So what happened was this. My point was very simple. I said, I don't think that PewDiePie is anything special. I don't think that what he does at the moment is something that requires his personal talents and gifts, because I don't think that he's any better than anyone on the street. That's what I said. And by anyone on the street, of course, I mean, I'm generalizing. I'm saying the majority of people. Of course, not virtually anyone, but the 90% of the people in the street. Why? Well, because the things that he does right now, they don't require a special person to do them. It's not rocket science. He's not teaching people how to divide the atom, right? He's reading a book, sometimes doing a review of a book, sometimes playing a game, sometimes talking about his life or sharing his opinion on something. This is something that anyone can do. That was my point, that if you replace him at this moment, in this stage in time, with a random lady who's 50 years old on the street, she could do the same job. And people who've never seen him or her and just see the views and just see the millions of views, they'll go, okay, that lady probably knows the shit. And I know that Stefcho is not like this. He doesn't usually get influenced by the views. But I don't know in this case. I don't know what was the reason for it. But anyway, so my point was this. And I had arguments to back it up. And Stefcho's point is, listen, he's a very nice guy. He's a very good guy. He has good intentions. He's very funny. And things could be much worse if it was someone else doing those things. Okay. So those things, I actually agree with some of them. But that doesn't change the subject. It's not a rebuttal of my argument. You know, it's a different position. It's basically like saying you have a CEO who's running a company, he's terrible at the job, and he's ruining the company, but he's a very nice person, and he had good intentions. Well, that doesn't justify things. If he's bad for the company and there's someone better on it, or if anyone can do the job, then the fact that he's nice doesn't mean shit. Okay, so let me just go back and kind of give you like my arguments and why I said what I said. So with PewDiePie, you can generally divide things in a couple of moments. You can say that there's the PewDiePie that became famous, and there's PewDiePie who is famous. Okay, PewDiePie who became famous was playing games. He was a guy who was sitting home doing nothing, playing games, for other kids to watch him play games. That's it. If he didn't do that, he wouldn't be here. Simple fact. I don't think anyone can argue with that. PewDiePie's right now is the PewDiePie's who teaches kids how to behave and is this Mother Teresa great character, whatever. Okay. Now, the PewDiePie who got famous, he got famous by abusing this trend of kids watching videos on YouTube, by riding this wave of this phenomenon. Is this a good phenomenon? I don't think so. I think there are plenty of things you can waste your time with that are better than watching other people play games. If this is the majority of YouTube and I had any power to change it, I would change it. I think the majority of people would change it if they had power. Okay? I think this is how things are, but it's not good. It's just like, for example, like 70% of internet is porn. It's a bad thing, but it's true. Does that mean that we need to talk about it all the time since it's 70% of the content? No. But it so happens that it's a big thing and it's a big industry, generates a lot of money. By it being such a big thing and people by watching it, they actually contribute to it. And that's even worse because we know how bad porn is for the performance, for example, how bad it is for the women involved, for their physical and psychological health, how it ruins the people in the industry. You also know how bad it is also for people who are just watching because it hasn't been that long since people have been exposed to internet porn. Before there was porn, but it was not as easily available. So it wasn't the same. But now we have studies that show how bad it is. Because imagine you're a guy, you're in a relationship, and then you break up and then you're single for 5 years and you're just jerking off to porn. It creates changes in your mental state. It creates these unrealistic images in your mind of what is cool and what is sexy and what turns you on, because you're used to now that every 10 seconds you can change a position, you can change the girl from black to white to Asian, you can have multiple girls or this and that. This is something that's neither possible nor is it something that you can strive to achieve in the bedroom. So you can have that in the real world, and that creates this very unhealthy situation which ruins your own personal life and your intimacy with anyone else and your capability to build a relationship with anyone else. So it's a bad thing, but it's a big industry. It makes a lot of money. It makes a lot of stars. Believe it or not, they're porn stars. They're porn stars not just because they have a lot of money, but because a lot of people follow them. Because they're kids on the street, like a 16-year-old girl she says, okay, I can suck dick. I don't have any much thing else going on for me. I'm not super smart, but I can suck dick and I'm a good-looking girl. So how about when I turn 18, I go into the industry and I stay for a year, I make enough money for the rest of my life. But she's ruined. She'll be shit by the end of it. When she gets out of it, she'll be a wreck of a person. But that's because we have, that's because we have porn stars who advocate this, and they're part of the industry. It's always like this. It's always like this. Here's what it is. It's in every industry. There's a natural phenomenon, something that happens naturally. Let's say in the music industry, that's the Beatles. The Beatles come in, they make a record, they come to the States. No one has ever heard that. People go nuts. They can fill any stadium. They can sell any record. People go nuts. They create such a big thing around them that they create the industry around them. They employ people now. More people get jobs and make a living and make a good living by just working on non-talent business jobs just related to selling their records or organizing venues or booking places or whatever it is. So these businessmen now are in this situation because of that. They've gotten their jobs because of the Beatles. But now another band comes in, and that other band follows into the footsteps of the Beatles and have the same results and contribute to the well-being of those businessmen, right? So that happens again and again. And at one point, these guys figure out, these record producers and record labels, they figure out, wait a second, we don't need to wait for the next wave. We don't need to wait for the next Beatles. We can create another one. We know the formula. We know that it takes music, yes, genius music, great, but it also takes being able to fill an 80,000 stadium, being able to go on a late night show, being able to do this and that, and we can take care of all the other aspects. So if we find someone who's decent enough at music, who doesn't really completely suck, we can fake it. Okay, and that's how the industry works. So then it's a challenge for you to figure out, knowing this, is what I'm being told is good based on the numbers, like PewDiePie watching the numbers, is this good enough that he's number one based on views and numbers and all that? Or can I challenge that and think maybe there's something else that's better? Now, the PewDiePie example is not like this because it came from YouTube. And YouTube, where he was there, when he got his first views, was still a good place. It was a platform which largely benefited underdogs. And that was the beauty of it. 10 years ago, man, it was the greatest thing because no one believed it. Everyone underestimated it. And everyone thought, fuck that. It's just like, cat videos and stupid people. And it was a lot of stupid people. But it was also a lot of people who didn't make it in the mainstream media or TV or radio, not because they sucked, but because they were too good. They were so original, they were out there, that people couldn't match them to anything else that was previously known. So no one wanted to give them a job. The only place they could do what they wanted to do, the complete freedom that they wanted to do it, was YouTube. So they did that. And when they got big, and they got really big because the platform was good and it was free and was reaching people all over the world, then the corporations noticed, and then they went in. So the same producers, the same record producers and music and in movies and all that went into YouTube too. So now if you're in comedy, for example, you're competing all of a sudden, not with just the kid next door doing videos in the garage, but also with Jimmy Fallon and his 100 writers and producing 10 videos every day, and the millions of marketing money that they pour into it just to make sure that their video comes up on the feed first. So this is how now you can compete. But back in the day, it was a better place. And I don't even think that PewDiePie thought about it. Like, he was like, no, I'm going to play games because I have this vision. Because there was no one else before that had ever made it from games. So he was just stubborn, I guess, or I don't know, lazy, being like, oh, whatever, I'm just going to play games while everyone else is going to school or having jobs or whatever. And eventually, he became who he is now. And then something happened, which I don't know what happened. My theory is he just got depressed. And he thought, wait a second, I can't fucking sleep at night, man. I can't go to bed thinking this is all I do is play games every day. This is not a good enough purpose and a meaningful reason to live. So I need to do something else. So that's when he started doing his other stuff. Well, let me tell you what kind of stuff I do and this and that and the books that I read and what's my opinion on this. That's when he started doing that. Just to have this kind of justification for himself that, okay, I'm also doing something else that's meaningful. And now at this point, this is what I'm saying. Usually, when you get to a certain position where you have millions of fans and this podium that you can speak to those people, by doing something is by doing that same thing for many, many years before. For example, if I'm a great boxer and millions of people show up to see me fight, it's because for many years I was boxing and people would see me fight. If I'm this great biology teacher and I talk about bees and flowers and millions of people want to watch me for that, then it's because I was an exceptional biology teacher for many years and talking about these bees and flowers. But this case, the PewDiePie case, is not like this. It's like, I talk about books now, not because I'm the best at talking about books, but because I used to play games before. So you see what I mean? It makes no sense. It's just like porn stars. That's why I gave this example. It's a great example. Because a lot of porn stars get into porn, become very famous, and then do something else. So, for example, you have Lisa Ann. She's now a host of a radio show, and she's doing like a sport radio show, and people say it's very good. Sasha Grey is doing these, art projects or writing or whatever she's doing. Sunny Leone she is a Bollywood movie star now, and starring in Bollywood movies. So, what's the point I'm trying to make? Well, the director who first hired Sunny Leone for some sort of Bollywood movie, I doubt that person was, thinking, wow, I'm hiring her just because she's such a great actress and she can sing so well and dance. I bet this guy, or even if it was a woman, she thought, oh, wait a second, she's a famous porn star. All the guys are going to watch my movie now. This is going to be huge. This movie is going to be huge. This is what they were thinking. So if that's what they were thinking, then it doesn't matter how good of a movie star she is. Okay? As a matter of fact, she might be a terrible movie star. So that's what it is. It doesn't matter how good he is, and it is very likely that he sucks ass at recommending a book because he's not qualified for recommending books. He was playing games, but just because he has those views, he can do whatever the fuck he wants. With those fucking brainwashed kids watching him, he can fucking wipe his ass and kids are gonna like it. That's what it is. That's the truth. And so this is the case. And you have to be able to question that, and you have to be able to see that. And that's why I was talking about qualifications when we were arguing. I was saying, what makes him qualified for this? And all that Stefcho was gonna say was like personal qualities, like he's very nice. Okay, let's say he's nice. I'm not saying he's Hitler. I doubt that he's killed anyone, right? He's has good intentions. I don't know that. I know that he's built this big empire. He's employing people that he pays salaries to, that he's probably driving some awesome cars that cost money and living in great houses. So it's all of that. It costs money to run this business. So you need to keep doing it, and you need to do it in a certain standard and a certain, let's say, safe way, and being nice on camera, just not to lose that money. You know what I mean? So I'm questioning the intentions here. I don't know what the intentions are. And also that he's funny. Well, in terms of funny, okay, it's a personal thing. It's a personal opinion. But then we were talking about it, and I said I watched him on Conan when he was doing the game thing that Conan does, Clueless Gamer. So I was like, this guy is not funny at all. Like, he didn't say anything. It was all Conan just joking, and he was just like staying there, just fucking weird. I'm like, this guy, why is he so weird? What the fuck is wrong with this? And Steph was like, well, I don't like Conan. Conan is not funny to me. I said, okay, it's a personal decision. But the thing is, you can have credentials for how funny Conan is. You can say, you can name a couple of facts. Like, he was one of the first writers on The Simpsons. He was a writer for SNL in '93, for National Lampoon. When he got his job in late night, he was the youngest late night talk show host in history. He was backed up by Letterman. Everyone loved him. He was so original. He was doing these things that no one else had done before with the format. Then when he, many years later, he was still at the top. He got, Leno's job, and then Leno got jealous, got it back, also proving how good Conan is. And that's just, credentials. Those are facts about his comedy thing, right? And it's not the only thing. He's also a very intelligent person. He graduated Harvard. He's this history buff, reading all these World War I and II history books. He's interviewed probably the last 5 presidents and hosted them to their faces. There's so many things that you can name, like titles and awards and credentials and stuff that you have nothing on PewDiePie in this category. There's nothing. So that's what I mean. He's a nice kid. Great. I can show you a nice kid on the street. And if I replaced them today, you couldn't tell the difference. You couldn't tell the difference. If you show that channel to someone who's never seen PewDiePie, and I replace him with a kid from the street, you wouldn't tell the difference. But if you replace him with Conan, you would tell the difference. If you replace him with the biology teacher, you would tell the difference. So that was my point. My point is, he deserves where he is because of the type of work that, it's a free system. It's like a market economy, whatever there is a demand for, there is supply for. So there was a demand for that. He supplied it. He got where he is, right? But what he's doing now, anyone can do better than him. That was my point. And there's no argument about it. There's no argument about it. So, and the argument of, it could be worse. Of course it could be worse. What kind of argument is that? Of course. I mean, it could be Hitler, teaching kids how to kill each other. But, anyway. So that was why we argued. And it was stupid, man. This was exactly how I argued. I didn't, try to offend Stefcho personally, and he did me. So, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? And anyway, but I'm not offended. That's the thing. Like, he's blocked me right now. I'm trying to reach him because I want to do this podcast with him. But anyway. So I hope that we can figure this out, even though this probably will piss him off even more for some reason. But you know how it is. Like, if someone is pissed off, there's no rationalizing it. See, still message not sent. Anyway, but there's so many other topics that we can discuss, man. There's so many other things that we can talk about. And I just want to look at some news, maybe. Something that happened over the week. Let me just record my screen for you. Just go over some topics. For example, this guy. Check this out. There was a guy in Brazil that he was some healer, supposedly healer, that has abused supposedly more than 300 women and is a fugitive because he didn't show up. Because they thought, oh, you fucked 300 women? Well, how about we invite you to our police office? Please come over at 1400 sharp, please. And he just decided, oh, thank you for that invitation, but I would like to regretfully inform you that I'm on my way to escape this country and become a fugitive and, rape some more women in another country, so I guess. So that's how he escaped, because they were expecting him at 2 o'clock on Saturday, but he didn't turn himself in. What a surprise for a serial rapist to have that energy. He's raped 300 women. You'd think he had the energy to escape the country. But this guy, of course, such a nice guy. I can imagine him in a sitcom, playing a good father. So anyway, this guy, very terrible rapist. I think Bill Cosby would be proud. And here's an interesting thing here. Check this out. So a Dutch photographer, Zahira Leeneke Maus, told Globo TV that this guy had manipulated her into performing sex acts and then raped her. I was reading this sentence and I thought, what a convoluted sentence. What a conundrum of a sentence. Just think about it. A Dutch photographer, Zahira Leeneke Maus. Even here I have some problems. That's not the Dutchest of names. When you say Dutch and then you say this, I don't see the immediate connection. But okay, so it kind of throws me off the bus a little bit. But anyway, told Globo TV, again, not the most interesting TV. So Globo TV, it sounds to me like some sort of a creepy pervert TV where this guy would have a sitcom with Bill Cosby and it'll be a hit. And then this guy had manipulated her. Now, in this article, by the way, it's very vague, so it doesn't explain how he was raping them. Like, was he putting them under with some medication or what was happening? But apparently, he manipulated her. So manipulation implies that he talked her into it, I guess, Doesn't necessarily mean drugs. Performing sex acts and then raped her. Okay, so she was performing them first, and then he raped her. So she was performing them with maybe someone. I don't know, man. This is so, I can't even, one sentence sometimes will stop me, and I would just analyze it endlessly. She was performing sex acts on other people, apparently, because she can't be alone to perform them. So she's with people, I think, and it's multiple sex acts. Until then, finally, he goes, well, if you're going to perform all these sex acts, I might as well rape you, I guess. So I don't know what, it's I don't want to speculate. But it's a 76 years old guy. Fuck this guy and his health. 76, if you can rape this much, imagine how many he was raping as a kid. When he was in his 20s, he was raping 1,000 a month. Anyway, What else do we have? We have here something else. We have a South African guy, shepherd. Well, who else is going to find dinosaurs if not a shepherd? A South African shepherd found a dinosaur graveyard. And look at this beautiful dinosaur and this rendition of dinosaur that we see here, which is so realistic that I cannot take my eyes off of it. It's like, anyway, so the South African shepherd found a dinosaur graveyard, and check this out. This is the guy. So Dumangwe Tiobeka stumbled across the dinosaur graveyard with fossils up to 200 million years old on a routine visit to his family's burial place. Wow. So these dinosaurs were on a routine visit to his great parents' graves. On their way there, they died 200 million years ago. And he found them going towards his great parents' graveyard. And by the way, how do you stumble upon a graveyard of such proportions? Can you imagine in a human graveyard, you have like tombstones that are this big? Imagine the tombstones in a brontosaurus fucking huge graveyard. You can see them from a helicopter. It's like, how can you not see that there are dinosaurs buried there? See, growing up, we were told dinosaurs were a myth, he says. I thought they were only tales our grandparents would tell. But of course, the grandparents would remember because the dinosaurs were on their way to their grave, so they would have seen them probably. One day, while doing that, I came across a large bone. I had never seen anything. What? Doing what? My great-grandparents are buried on this land, and one of my responsibilities is to look after their graves, clean them. One day, while doing that, I came across a large bone. So he was cleaning the bodies of his ancestors, I imagine. He was digging them out and cleaning them. And one day he comes out with this huge bone, and he's like, what is this? What is that, Grandma? Grandpa? What is that bone sticking out of your chest, Grandpa? What have you been doing here? And probably some dog started. And that's the thing about fossils, is they're not actual bones. You know that? Like the bones would deteriorate, but it's something that you know how they do those molds? Like they make they put something organic inside, and then they put like they put like molted metal inside, and it replaces the organic thing because it burns it down and replaces the shape of the organic thing in a mold. So this is with the fossils, it's something similar, because minerals replace the shape and the place where the bone was. So you're looking at something that looks like a bone, but it's not made of bone. It's made out of rock, like that's why it's a fossil. Anyway, I don't know why I'm explaining this. Dinosaurs were everywhere. A team of paleontologists from various universities, including Johannesburg's University of the Witwatersrand, the universities of Oxford and Birmingham in the UK, and Switzerland's University of Zurich, spent weeks here earlier this year excavating some of the fossils. Well, since they spent so many weeks, why do you write about it just now? Anyway. What the fuck am I doing with my life? And by the way, I need to thank here AD, who wrote a comment on the last video, because AD, I don't know who he is, but not only is this a really nice, intelligent comment, but it's very challenging, and so it tells me that you listen to us intently, you understand what we're saying, you're questioning some of the stuff. It's amazing. Thank you so much for listening, man. And I just want to heart your comment right now, because you deserve it, man. You're the shit. And keep giving us smart feedback like this. We might get smarter. Maybe you can answer now. You can tell us, how can we resolve this conflict between me and Stefcho? Because actually, I'm gonna Google problem resolutions skills, and how to resolve the problem. And see, there's the first links that comes up: problem solving examples and skills. How to show you have problem solving skills, problem solving steps and skills, analyzing the factors or causes contributing to the unwanted situation. Let me record this. Okay, number 1, the 5 primary steps in problem solving are analyzing the factors or causes contributing to the unwanted situation. The number 1 factor is that PewDiePie exists. He should die. Okay, number 2, generating a set of alternative interventions to achieve your end goal. Alternative interventions, meaning not the obvious one, killing PewDiePie, but the alternative interventions to achieve your end goal. Well, alternatively, it would be best to reach some sort of situation where we both agree on something, where we're both like, okay, there is a middle ground. So, like, I'm not completely taking out PewDiePie's dick out of Stefcho's mouth. I'm just like a little bit removing it. So there's air, space, so he can get some fresh air and oxygenate his brain and feel better and not say things like that. So maybe no, I'm kidding. But the point is generating alternative interventions to achieve your end goal. Well, I think the alternative solution would be, the one I can think of is me not ever mentioning PewDiePie again. But that's a stupid solution. The best one would be to be able to talk about it without being triggered, okay? To be able to disagree, but still not block anyone. But be like, okay, fine, we disagree, fine, that's it. Third one, evaluating the best solutions, okay? Implementing a plan. 4. 5, assessing the effectiveness of your interventions. Okay, so there'll be a plan. The plan would be to talk about PewDiePie every single day until the point where it's such a topic, it's such a neutral topic that no one really cares about. To the point where I spoil it for Stefcho, so he doesn't even, for him it's like talking about mayonnaise. He's like, couldn't care less. Actually, it makes me kind of sick when you mention it. Ugh. That sort of stuff. And then how do you assess the effectiveness of the intervention? Well, once a month, we make a lie detector test. We go through a scripted version of the argument where we repeat everything we said to each other, and we try to see if that pisses off the other person. And so on the lie detector test, we'll be asked continuously the same question. Are you pissed off? Are you pissed off? Are you pissed off? And being slapped on the face. And if the lie detector test shows that we are, then we haven't passed. Then we need to go back to talking about it every single day until none of us cares about it anymore. Okay, I think that's really the solution to the whole problem. But anyway, I think that solves it. And I think there's no other way to solve it. I'm not aware of any other way. Relationships, guys. Why do you need them? You don't. Let's challenge the whole status quo relationships. Girls, would you need a guy for what? To get pregnant? Not anymore. You can identify as pregnant nowadays. So you don't need no guy. You don't need no guy. You can identify as a pregnant woman. Okay? Then get a baby somehow. I mean, there are multiple ways. You can steal it. And go to another country where you can make all the procedurals, legalities, and all that. And you don't need a man anymore. And what do you need a man for? I don't know. Holding the door? Opening a jar? You can have the baby open the jar. Let it figure it out. Give it a hammer. Give it a jar. Be like, baby, come on. Show some creativity. Open this jar, bitch. Come on. Baby will open it one way or another. Now you had a baby in a jar. Now you have nothing. The next minute, there's nothing. But that's life. It's challenging. It's also challenging, for guys too. What do you need women for? What do we need women for besides happiness in life? But if you can accept that you can be completely unhappy, and that's okay, then why have women, You can suffer without them. You can suffer without them. So you can go to a prison, you can go to a, I don't know, you can lose a bunch of weight for no reason. How about people who lose weight for no reason? Like I bet there are people who lose weight for a reason, but really, what is a good reason to lose weight? If you don't have women, there you go. 90% of the reason's gone. There'll be a bunch of fat people walking around, fat guys walking around the earth. There'll be no six packs if there were no women. There'll be no six packs. Fuck that. Six packs. I mean, it was invented by a woman, I guess. Women were like, all of this space, I need to segregate it, make it into pieces. I need to have different sections of this area between the tits and the dick. Because when I suck the dick, I need to focus on different areas. When I get bored, I need to switch between 1 and 2 and 3. Ideally, 6 different areas. And they created a six-pack. This is how it works. It wasn't an accident. They said it was a six-pack. And we were lucky they said it was a six-pack and not an 8-pack. Because that would be hard to pull off. Not a 12-pack. Ooh, that would be terrible. But nowadays, I think this is one of the things going on in the feminist community. They want to bring the 12-pack in. Just to make it harder for guys. Like, 6-pack, everyone has it. 12-pack. How about that? How about put some pack on your ass? Have an ass pack. How about have a shoulder pack? How about that? There'll be packs everywhere. So it's really not it's not scalable in the long run. So this is why relationships ultimately are bad. Just because they make you happy and they make you, enjoy life doesn't mean you need to have them. Also, think about other things. Think about, for example, the pollution that happens when you have multiple relationships in your life. I think there will be a simple time if there were no relationships. If someone took all the women and took them to Venus and had all the men and just took them to Mars, then all of us would die and there would be no one. But if Venus and Mars were both really cool and cool, they were okay to live in, you know what I mean? That would be great. I had this thought some time ago about space exploration, and I was thinking, this is not related to relationships, but I want to share it nevertheless. I was thinking about this. What if there are intelligent aliens out there, but they have not contacted us, not because they can't, but because they don't want to, simply because they're very creepy and pervy. So imagine there's a race out there of aliens who just jerk off to everything, man. All they do all day long is just do porn, watch porn, and jerk off. But they jerk off to everything. There's porn out there. It's like a microphone porn and hat porn, and they jerk off to sand and chairs and every living animal and every plant on their planet, everything. So they've done it all to the point where nothing excites them anymore. The only thing that can excite them is something so alien that they cannot even find it on their own planet. So they need to go somewhere out and find it in the universe. And they basically put all of their efforts and technology into building these telescopes so they can observe other planets and watch the aliens there, and they can just jerk off to us. So one day we find out these aliens and we come to their planet and we're like, hey guys, you're so advanced. How come you've never said hi to us? And they go, I don't know, we're just busy and all that. And then we switch on the TV and we see Earth porn TV where it's just Earth and they jerk off to us and there's other planets and it's so disappointing. And we're like, oh, dudes, what the fuck, man? Why are you doing that? Right? So, and also I was thinking about Mars. I was thinking when we go there and we colonize Mars, there surely is going to be like the first company, right? Whoever comes up with the first company that opens up on Mars. But you got to imagine that, of course, it's going to be a big deal. It's going to employ everyone and everything. But the point is that on Mars in the beginning days, it's always going to be all these robots and machines that purify the air and they, turn Mars into a habitable planet. So there's not going to be much human labor. There's not going to be much jobs other than operating machines that people can do, and most of these machines will be like computer operated. So the point is, whatever this first company comes up with, it's mostly going to be just for, you know, just for spending some time, just for the people to have something to do. Not necessarily it's going to be something useful. As a matter of fact, it could be completely useless. It could be like one of those things. What do you call those? Like a mesh where all like the first in the gold rush period, the first gold diggers were going in the rivers with those meshes and shaking them and having like all of the grain and the sand from the river fall through and like the or the gold fall out. You know what I mean, right? Like a picture board, like you would have this wooden board and a mesh inside, okay? So what if there's a company on Mars that makes these things? There's basically a first company on Mars is just making these meshes because there's all you got on Mars is dirt, and so everyone's just going, putting these rocks inside and just shaking, and all these rocks, it just separates the bigger from the smaller rocks and becomes a revolution. It's like the fidget spinner. Everyone is doing it, man, all over Mars. I mean, even kids on Mars, they get sick with Parkinson because they're shaking all the time. And they get all these meshes, and then everyone has one. So, like, how do you innovate from there? So that this new revolutionary CEO comes in, and he's like, I know what to do. I'm going to put another mesh, finer mesh, under the first mesh. So when you shake, like the bigger rocks are going to separate into medium rocks, and then the medium rocks are going to fall to the second mesh below. It's going to be like a second mesh thing, and the second mesh will separate those, and it just goes on and on. So yeah, so I had this idea, and I wanted to share with you because I think it's the future. I'm going to show you some photos because I'm running out of space on my cloud or something, so I figure most of these photos no one will ever see unless I show you. So this is some photos I took with my phone. So as you know, I'm commuting to work with a bike, and now since it's the Christmas spirit, everyone is eating oranges and tangerines, so I ate a tangerine. I peeled it off, and this is what happened afterwards. This is my helmet, and this is a tangerine, dick-shaped tangerine on my helmet. I was really proud of that. Friday at work. Here's another one for you, for the fans. This is my bike and Dingilingli Cliffs. If you want to check more of that, you should follow us on Instagram because I'm posting equally depressive photos there. Here's another one. Here's me, and this is Ricardo, who was on the podcast too. As you can see, we're equally surprised that we're taking a selfie here. It's like, what? Are we taking a selfie? Yes, we are. Did we agree to do it? Yes, but let's pretend like we didn't. So that's basically the theme of the photo. And here's another great one. This is an ad for a restaurant in Bulgaria. Now, what I want you to check is this. First of all, wait, this is going to be hard. I need to make sure that yeah. Okay, so look at this guy. This is probably the most successful boxer in Bulgaria, eating this shitty burgers. Now look at his right hand fingers. Look at this finger action. Look at these fingers. Like, what the fuck is whoever photoshopped this has no idea. Look at his arm going this way and his fingers going this way. This is humanly impossible. It's the opposite of anatomy. Any kind of science will disprove that. This is disprovable by any means of scientific approach. Oh yeah, I was taking a swim here in the middle of December. That's me in the fucking water. Then there's cars. I took photos of cars. Why not? Let's be stupid once in a while. We're only humans. Then there's some other things. I don't want to show you my dick photos because no one cares about those. No, there's a lot of... Whew. Wait a second. There's a lot of just fucking screenshots too, which doesn't help. And the fact that every photo I take, I usually do like 17 takes. Another thing I like to do is sometimes I go to an office and I'm waiting for something to happen, like in a bank or something. And while the people on the other side of the desk are perplexed. Like, this is the very first time in their human existence that someone has asked them to do something normal and do their job. I'm taking secretly a photo of them. So this is an example. This is a lady in an office of a bank in Bulgaria. So she's completely shocked by what I'm asking her to do. So she's calling her colleagues in another office to check what's happening. Meanwhile, it's just a normal thing. It's not even anything special. Hey guys, I'm sorry for this. This is really not how it's supposed to be. We are supposed to have friends here, guests that we discuss different challenging topics with. Then you have my viewpoint and Stefcho's viewpoint, challenging the guests and having this nice conversational thing. It's not supposed to be just about me. So I promise that I'm going to try to bring this shit together. You know, you saw me. I tried that. Doesn't work so far. We'll see. We'll keep trying, but please don't give up on us yet. I'm gonna sing you off with a song that I just want to make up right now on the spot for you. It's called "Don't Give Up Just Because We Suck." It goes a little bit something like that. It's brand new. Still working on it. As a matter of fact, I'll start working on it right now. Don't give up just because we suck. Life is bad, but so what? Always end with a nice sentence at the end. Don't give up just because we suck. Life is bad, but also sad. We talked about relationships, we talked about dinosaurs, and we talked about PewDiePie this time. When we get together, life is gonna be better. But until then, please don't hate us anymore. Please listen to everything we do. It's fun. Until then, we'll meet you again. We'll meet you again. And it's gonna be you and me, my friend, in the end. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. See you next time. Hopefully in a bigger group of people.